my lovely Flosstube friends, welcome back to the channel. Today is different, although you can see in the background that this is just a continuation from the previous stitching video. We're now on the knitting section. Like I said, I knew that they were monster videos, so I've separated the videos out so that the knitting is on one video and the stitching is on the other video. So if you're sitting here watching this video going, Teresa, where's all the stitching? It's on the other video. Go to the October stitching video. If you're here for the long haul and you've done the stitching video and you now want to know what's happening in my knitting world, then hello and welcome. As you can see, we are still in the bedroom because it's the only place that I can get some light, and it's all good stuff in here. So what to tell you on the knitting? Well, first things first, you all know how much I love my lovely bee sewing box. I'll put a picture here of the sewing box that I absolutely adored and love. Well, I also couldn't help myself, fell down this massive rabbit hole that I needed everything bee related, it appeared. So I ordered a couple of little bags. So first up is the little project bag. So I've got my little knitting project bag, here it is, which is basically a beehive. I love it. With the bees, it's got a little door on it, little bee, yep, it matches everything, so I absolutely love this. And because I saw this, I couldn't help myself, but I had to get this as well. So I have another sort of, this has got all of my yarn in it. Got a nice little pocket for a bit more storage, I have to say. Considering that I don't really knit that much, I seem to have a lot of wool all of a sudden, or a lot of yarn all of a sudden. So yeah, I think I might need a bit more storage than this. But I couldn't help myself. I thought it was adorable, and I thought it all matches. Even matches my bedroom. I've just realised that. Although the cream doesn't. The cream doesn't match, but the yellow bits do. Love that. Love that. So the knitting. I'll be honest with you. Let's give you a little update of what's happening with the knitting. So the shawl. Here's a little picture of what it is. I'll put it in here. I'll be honest with you. I haven't really done that much with it. In all fairness, I really haven't. So, but progress-wise, the last time you saw it, it was a rah-rah skirt, and you can see that it's still very much a rah-rah skirt. There we go. See if you can see. So it's sort of yay big. So there's still a long way to go. But you'll remember that we was talking about the holes in it. There's still holes in it, but there isn't any more holes in it. So at least it's a little less. I don't know. The more I've done of it, the less holes there are in it. But my lovely enabling friends, because I don't need any more in my life, do I, of enabling friends, convinced me somehow that, you know, throw caution to the wind, Teresa, and makes me feel that I'm capable of doing stuff that I decided that the shawl's great, but I really wanted to do a sock. I mean, that was the whole point of doing this, doing the shawl. The shawl was that if I can do a shawl, well, I can do a sock. But then so many people are going, Teresa, if you can knit like that and you can knit and you can purl, you can do a sock anyway. What can I say, people? What can I say? I fell down the rabbit hole of a sock. So the lovely Ellie Welly Stitcher, who I'm setting up a stitching retreat here in Essex with in March of 2022. She loves to do a bit of knitting. She's apparently very good at it. So she turned around and she was like, oh, Teresa, she said, there's this really good video series on YouTube by Simply in Stitches where she does a sock by the Unapologetic Knitter. And it's a vanilla sock thing. But she said the fact that there's like this whole video about it, she said once I did one, she said it made total sense. And she said, and I was off and flying. And apparently she never used to knit socks. So I was like, well, okay then. Well, she sent me down this rabbit hole, didn't she? So I fell down the rabbit hole that I decided I wanted to do the sock. So I started a sock. But I wasn't prepared to use nice wool, because I'm like, well, I don't want to spend lots and lots of money on lovely wool and then find that I either ruin it or it doesn't go according to plan. So I went with some wool from Sheepy's. So it's Sheepy's Tribe. And I saw someone on YouTube, I saw someone on Facebook using it. And I was like, well, it must be a sock yarn. And I had it. So I put it to good use. And I thought, well, this will be my test sock. So here is my test sock. And I'm pleased to say there aren't any holes in it. And I look to have a type of heel. I mean, obviously I'm holding these a little carefully because I keep losing stitches off my needles. And I don't know how to pick I don't know how to pick stitches back up, so I can't afford to have them fall off. But yeah, I have a sock. There's my heel. We did have a bit of a problem. So I still have a sneaky suspicion that my sock is likely to be a rather odd shape. Because when we got to the heel was fine doing the heel. The picking the stitches up to connect the heel back onto the sock was a bit problematic because I couldn't quite see because of the type of yarn this is. It's a bit fluffy, look. It is a little fluffy. So I was struggling to work out what is a stitch versus, what I'm supposed to be picking up. So that was a little tricky. But once I got them back on, then it said that I needed to do the decreases on each side of the heel. So I was just following what it said, but I wasn't really paying any attention to what it was actually meaning that I was doing. So somehow, and I still don't know to the life of me what happened, but I was supposed to have had 28 stitches on the front of the sock. And then lots and lots of stitches because I added the heel back on the back of the sock. Well, somehow I put my stitch markers in the wrong place. And I ended up with most of the stitches on the front of the sock and the 28 stitches on the back of the sock where the heel had connected. Well, the instructions said that I needed to decrease on each side doing rows 2 and 3, I think it was. Yeah, I think it was rows 2s and 3s, what it said to do, until you get down to 28 stitches. Well, of course, when I then got sort of, it's all on there, and I'm looking at my stitch markers, and then I'm like, oh, okay, I'll start counting. Like I said, don't know how I managed it, but I ended up with the 28 on where the heel was, and all of the rest of the stitches on the front. So I'm like, oh, I'm down to 28. I stopped decreasing now. So, of course, I started working in the round again to sort of do this part of the sock. And I'd done about 4 or 5 rounds. And then when I was looking, I was like, I'm sure I'm stitching more on the back than I am on the front. So I've done nothing more than started counting, only to find that there was something like 50 odd stitches on the front of the sock. So then I was on a phone call anyway with Ellie, and I was trying to explain to Ellie what I've done wrong. And she was like, okay, she said, stop going in round. She said, you need to go back round and knit them, and then once you've knit them, keep them on so that you get 28 stitches on the front, then put a stitch marker. She said, and then stitch round and put the stitch marker on so that all of the extra stitches are on the heel and the 28 are on the front. She said, and then from that point onwards, you carry on doing your decreases until you get back down to 28 on the back of the sock. So, yeah, so I don't know if it's going to make the sock a funny shape. It doesn't, I don't know. It doesn't look that fun. Well, I don't know. That bit does look a bit weird there, doesn't it? So yeah, like I say, I don't know whether it's going to make that much of a difference to the shape of the sock. It doesn't matter. It's only my sock. I'll just have one wonky foot. But I'm nearly there. So basically it says that this portion here, this part of the foot that I'm working on now, needs, we calculated, I think, 7 inches for a size 4 foot, because I need to leave 1.5 inches for the toe. So I'm about 6 inches. So I've got 1 more inch to go, and then I can do the toe, and then I should have some type of completed sock. Admittedly, there have been some pitfalls and some problems, because I've been doing this, and then Ellie turned around and said to me, you have been counting the rounds, haven't you? So I'm like, counting the rounds? She went, yeah, each time you've gone round. She said, you've counted. So I'm like, no, why would I count the rounds? Now I know why she said that, because I have no idea how I'm going to manage to make another sock replicate this sock. So it may be that, well, I'm hoping that I can just measure it. Part of my little bit of love and haul I've received over here will explain how I'm planning to do it. But obviously, worst case scenario, I can just measure off of this sock and guesstimate is what I'm thinking. Providing the toe goes according to plan, of course. So yeah, I mean, I've got to say, with all the problems and the fact that this might look a little weird at the join there, where the, I mean, I must admit, the heel does look very it does look very angled, but hey, you know, I'm not proud, not when it comes to the socks that I knit. So yeah, it may look a little odd, but I don't care, it's only going on my foot. I can deal with that. As long as I can make another one to sort of replicate this. That's the plan. So because I was absolutely loving the sock knitting, absolutely loving it, I went on not a spending spree, but I sort of did. So some of the things that I needed that I didn't have was some little stitch markers. So I had stitch markers, but the markers that I had weren't really that helpful. They were too big. So I had a sock like this, and I had these stitch markers like this, which I found too big. I found that they just got in the way on the sock because I needed two of them. So I found a place on Etsy. I'll put the description box, I'll put the name of the Etsy store here. But I liked these because these were numbered, but they're like little stitch counters. Do you see what I mean? And they got like little, they're like numbered. I think they're so cute. And they've got like this tiny little bit, which is great for my socks. And I like the fact that it's got numbers on, so that I can put number 1 on and number 2 on. So that way I don't get confused what one's what. Because sometimes when I'm working, that was the thing, I couldn't quite tell where I was on my own pattern because I hadn't marked down where I left off, and then I went back to it and I'm like, I can't remember whether I'm supposed to be doing the slip slip knit, or am I supposed to be knitting to the end and then knitting 2 together and then knit 1. So if I have little markers, I will know where I am. That's my plan. Do love a good planner. Because I fell down that rabbit hole, people, there is some lovely enablers on my little chat group that I have of fellow stitchy friends who are also amazing people who do things like spinning, and they do the yarns. And well, there's a lovely lady called Patricia Simcott, and she does hand dyed yarns. She hasn't got a website or an Etsy store, but she does have a Facebook group. I'll put the link to that here so that you can visit that. As and when she does new yarns, I think she's sort of putting them up there until she's got like a website or an Etsy store or somewhere to sell. But she's actually called Castle Yarns. She showed me some of these yarns that she's hand dyed, and well, I couldn't resist myself. You know, when it's just like, I want all the things. Well, this was one of those things. So the plan is, this is going to be my super duper amazing sock yarn for amazing pair of socks that I actually managed to knit. Okay, look at that. Would you look at that colour? I'm just like, so needless to say, this is in preparation for this. Oh, as soon as I saw it, as soon as she started sending me pictures of some of the yarns that she's got, I'm like, oh, I can't help myself. So there's this one, but there is also this one. So she showed both, but I couldn't make up my mind which one I wanted because they were just both too gorgeous. So I now have myself one that is more of a turquoisey teal colour. So it's blues and turquoisey. Is it turquoise? Yeah, well, it's more of a teal turquoise. And then this one is more of a blue. But I absolutely love these yarns. So like I say, she's called Castle Yarns. And these are a 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. 100 grams. Cool hand wash. Some colours may bleed on first wash. Same as most, I think. Don't think there's any real difference. But yeah, I can't wait to be able to knit some socks out of this. They will be divine. I couldn't help myself. What can I say? So being that it's Friday the 5th of November, the fireworks are going crazy. So if you can hear the banging and the booming in the background, I do apologise about that. What else to tell you? So there was some love that came my way, people. You know, if there's not love enough that I've got yarn coming out my ears. But my lovely friend, Anne Baxter, who knitted me my gorgeous socks, she sent me some love, of which, when it came through, because I'm like, I don't understand, because I didn't know where it had come from. I had no idea where this stuff had come from. And then I found out that it was her. So when I was saying about my sock and measuring my sock, she sent me the Fleece Loved Products Sockers Ruler Plus. Now, I need to Google how you use this. I have sort of started using it, but it says something on here about a dual scale ruler with charts, needle gauge, and aid for sock knitters, preparing with care, laser cut from birchwood, then hand finished. So here it is. So yeah, it's so what I've been doing is so that I can work out. See, I don't understand the markings, so to speak. I'm not 100% sure on the markings, but what I was thinking is, once I've completed my sock, so when I was measuring my sock, let me show you. I don't know if I'm doing this right. But yeah, so I basically put my sock in it like this. And I've been measuring down. So once I actually get to where I want, then I'll know that I'm in the right place. So that's sort of how I've been using this to measure my sock. But I do need to actually Google a bit more how you actually use this and use it properly. I'm sure that there's more than one way for use of this, but it's it's so lovely. And you are such a naughty lady. So naughty. So caring, such a wonderful gift, but you really are naughty. But not only did she get me that, and this is where it all sort of, you know, when you're like, wow, I'm just wowed by it. But also this little parcel of stuff turned up. Now, anyone that follows me on Instagram would have seen this. I actually posted a picture up saying who is responsible for this, because she didn't tell me she was sending me anything. This all just turned up, and I'm like, I don't understand. I didn't order this. Someone sent it to the wrong place. She has sent me super socks. Knit a pair of socks with Winwick Mum. So I have a sock book. If you've always wanted to knit a pair of socks but haven't known where to start, this is the book for you. And she looks like she does circular needles. So there's, yeah, basic sock on long circular needles. So how to use the magic loop. The diagrams, I love the diagrams. Just what I needed. Although saying that, I think a lot of the diagrams are showing where she's using the DP, is it DPNs? Double point needles. Whereas obviously at the moment I only actually know how to knit socks using the circular needles. But lovely book. Would you believe it? A set of DPNs. And then these gorgeous wools. So they are, there's 3 wools here that come with the set. One is a sparkly one and the others are just really colourful. So these are the yarns. Let me turn them around so that I can get the labels at the same time. So again, they're all 75% wool, 25% nylon. And here's the wools. How beautiful. How beautiful are they? So we've got this one, which is more sort of like yellows and creams and pinks. We've got this one, which is a signature West Yorkshire Spinners 4-ply. Loving the colours in that. I bet you get some proper stripy socks out of these. And then the final one, which I have to say, rather liking these, but that's only because they've got little sparkles on. I don't know if you can see the sparkles. Oh, you can see the sparkles. So it's got sparkles in it. They're very festive, aren't they? Sparkly socks, I'm thinking. So yeah, so Anne, you are lovely, but so naughty. So naughty. But if that wasn't enough, she says, if that wasn't enough in itself to have these bits, she also sent me, she says, let me just get this all back in the little baggie. She also sent me this gorgeous knitted project bag, of which, please take note, people. Oh yes, more bumblebees. And it's even got the yellow insides. Although this is by a different company. So this little project bag is made by a company called 𝓞𝓬𝓽𝓲𝓷𝓰.com. So it's 𝓞𝓬𝓽𝓽𝓲𝓷𝓰. I'll put the little, there it is. And what I'll do is I will put a link below for anyone that is looking for a gorgeous little project bag. So it's got like the little tie-ups. It's got a beautiful little bumblebee charm. I love it. Absolutely love it. It's lovely. And it's so well made. And because it matches all my bumblebee stuff. So I just feel like I'm bead right up now. And well, I'm loving the sock. I just hope that the toe goes according to plan. If that does, I'll be off and laughing, and I can get on with the next sock and see whether I can iron out the kinks from the first sock. And hopefully once I get the first set of socks under my belt, I can turn to my super duper wool and knit up some socks with this lovely gorgeousness. Again by Teresa from Castle Yarns. And if I can still do all of that, then we may have to try our hand to the DPNs or the magic loop that's in this one and learn how to do that as well. So yeah, I'm feeling totally loved. Anne, you are a naughty lady, but I do thank you from the very bottom of my heart. And yeah, I might be calling upon your services. We might have to, you know, I don't know, meet somewhere central so you can come and help me if I get stuck with my socks. But so far so good on the unapologetic vanilla sock that I'm working on. But yeah, so I'm loving the knitting. I'm really turning to the knitting at night time, especially at the moment where like it's just been so much going on in my life and lots of stuff happening, like life stuff, mum stuff, build stuff. There's all that happening that there's just some nights that I'm so tired and I sit down in front of my stitching and I'm like, I can't even bring myself to stitch. I can't. My brain doesn't want to do it. My eyes don't want to let me do it. So I turn to the knitting, and I must say that I can sit there and just knit and listen to my audiobook or knit and watch a bit of TV, especially the socks, because you're just knitting in the round most of the time. It's when you get to the heel and the toe, no doubt that's a bit different. But the majority of the sock, it is just knit in the round. Admittedly, it might have been a bit more complicated had I been counting my rounds. Fair play. I'm learning, but if no one told me I needed to count my rounds, I was never going to know that. I just made the assumption that you measured and that was it. But yeah, lesson learned there. What can I say, people? But yeah, I'm loving the knitting. Unfortunately, there's just not enough hours in the day to do all of the knitting and all of the stitching. So I'm having to do a little bit of stitching and then do a little bit of knitting. And I think that's the way forward for now. And unless something major happens and something changes, you know, that's the way it's going to have to be. So that is it, people. There is the knitting update. So if you didn't hang about for the stitching, and you didn't see the stitching video and you've just come to the knitting video, then there is a stitching video where I talk about the stitching. It was just that this would have been too big a video to have it all in one video. So you get 2 lots of me. Now I just need to go and edit them and get them uploaded onto YouTube. There is a task in itself, people. So like I say, not as productive as I would have liked this month, but I'm feeling the love with all the things. And I'm loving the fact that so far I look like I have some sort of sock. It does sort of resemble a sock shape. Hopefully, by the time the end of this weekend is over, I will have a toe on it and I will be able to see whether I do actually have a usable, wearable sock, or whether it's just going to be a bit like the Shawl, where it's a thing that sits in a bag and it's like, well, it sort of looks the part, but it sort of isn't and isn't functional. So yeah, watch this space, people. That's it. We are done. That is Knitting October update. Fingers crossed I will get some videos up this month if time doesn't escape me as it has this month. I have lots of plans and lots of ideas of all the things that I would like to do, but it is just that, plans and ideas of what I would like to do. It's just finding the time to do all the things. Yeah, like I say, need to be a kept woman. It's not going to happen. So thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you for the support. Thank you so much for all the love, especially all the people that have commented lovely comments on all of my videos about my knitting sagas and trying to help me push forwards with becoming a type of knitter, no matter what that might be, as loosely as that might be worded. Yeah, I really do appreciate all the support, all the help, all the tips and the tricks that come my way from this lovely community, because it appears that not only are you all gorgeous stitchers, but you're all gorgeous knitters as well. So yeah, I'm learning and I'm loving it. So yeah, fingers crossed, this time next month I'll have at least 1 sock and possibly 1.5 socks. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to have a set of socks knitted by then, because then I've just set the bar. Although I've just set the bar in my head, haven't I? So yeah, I would like to have at least 1 complete sock and half a sock is what I would like by this time next month. Who knows? We will find out. So until next time, people, bye bye for now.